Not all the cowboys that we experienced in television were denim-wearing roughnecks, but in TV's heyday of westerns, BAT Masterson offered a different kind of hero. From the years 1958 to 1961, Gene Barry played the title character, and he was a lawman that was suited in the most expensive threads that were of Eastern origin. He preferred to carry a hat and a cane over a pistol, but he was known to have the fastest gun around. The half-hour black and white series ran on NBC. It was also produced by Ziv Television Productions. The series had a tongue-in-cheek flair and used BAT Masterson's wit and wisdom to get him out of a lot of circumstances. In fact, he preferred using his cane rather than his gun to get him out of trouble. Now, he was known as a ladies' man who traveled the West looking for women and adventure. Now, the actor that portrays the leading role of Bat was born Eugene Class. He's an actor named Gene Barry, and he changed his last name as a tribute to the actor John Barrymore. He was an avid fan of John Barrymore. The black derby, fancy decorative vest that he wore, the black jacket, and the elegant pearl cane were his trademarks. There were miniaturized toy versions that were marketed to children as tie-in products during the run of the show. When you saw Bat dressed more casually in episodes that kind of centered around outdoor action, he would sometimes wear an identical but gray derby in place of the black one. Now, the Western was actually based on a real man. BAT Masterson was one of the most fascinating men in the Wild West, if not all of the 19th century America. For starters, he was actually born in Canada. As a teenager, he moved with his family to the Great Plains to hunt buffalo. He eventually became the sheriff of Dodge City, Kansas, where he engaged in shootouts, participated in the railroad wars, and he also became an expert and a sports writer on boxing. He actually started his own boxing club. He went on to befriend President Teddy Roosevelt, who appointed him a deputy U.S. Marshal. He generally impressed everyone that he came in contact with his gambling skills. No wonder they made a show about him. What a remarkable individual this guy was. He tried his hand at everything. The TV show itself was based on Richard O'Connor's best-selling 1957 book about Masterson. In fact, the closing credits show a shot of the book at the end. Dell Comics published a comic book about BAT Masterson too. There were numerous people that guest starred on this series that you probably would recognize. Stephanie Powers showed up there. James Coburn appeared in an episode called 6 Feet of Gold. And Diane Brewster, who was known as Leave It to Beaver's teacher in the second grade, Miss Canfield, she was on the show too. You also might remember the Disney voice. Every BAT Masterson episode ended with a baritone coming in over the closing scene. The singer was Bill Lee. He can be heard in dozens of delightful Disney classics. He was one of the singing voices in The Jungle Book. He sang in Mary Poppins, Lady and the Tramp, Peter Pan, and Alice in Wonderland. Now, during the years of 1958 and 59, there were actually 2 BAT Mastersons on television. BAT Masterson was such a fascinating figure, you could find him on 2 different shows. Of course, Gene Barry was starring in the title character of the series that we're talking about. But that same season, Mason Allen Deinhardt was wrapping up his role as the younger BAT Masterson on the life and legend of Wyatt Earp. Deinhardt left acting in 1960 to pursue a law career. Gene Barry's wife, Betty, appears in the show also. She can be seen in an episode called No Amnesty for Death. And she also went on to appear in an episode of Burke's Law, another series that Gene Barry played in. Gene Barry returned to the role in the 90s after the series was completely over. The overlooked 1988 through 91 cowboy series Guns of Paradise, and it was also known as Paradise, was a show that paid tribute to golden stars of classic westerns. Chuck Connors from The Rifleman turned up there in a few episodes. Gene Barry donned his derby and cane to reprise his character. BAT Masterson was in an episode called A Gathering of Guns. He appeared alongside fellow legend Hugh O'Brien, the former star of The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp. Now, Gene Barry and a number of Hollywood celebrities were big fans and supporters of Robert Kennedy Jr. Gene Barry was so enthralled by the thought of Robert Kennedy being president that he supported him in every way that he could. And that meant that he was there that night in the Ambassador Hotel, June of 1968, when Robert Kennedy was shot by Sirhan Sirhan. This took a toll on Gene Barry, and he really suffered over the fact that Robert Kennedy perished that night in the Ambassador Hotel. No matter what your political persuasion was, that was a sad year. Gene Barry took it extra hard. Now, he initially honed his character from the TV show Our Miss Brooks. He basically became typecast as a suave, sophisticated man. He truly perfected this type of man on the sitcom Our Miss Brooks. He joined the cast from 1955 to 1956, and he was the love interest of Eve Arden, the main character in the show. He played a sophisticated gym teacher, also named Gene. At the age of 25, Gene Barry married Betty Claire Kalb. Now, she was actually an actress herself and went under the stage name of Julie Carson. Gene Barry died December 9th, 2009, at the Sunrise Senior Living Home in Woodland Hills, California. He was 90 years old. He was buried in the Hillside Memorial Cemetery in Culver City. His marker bears the epitaph, "A Class Act." His wife, Betty, she died in 2003 after 58 years of marriage and is buried by him. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.